What's going on, everybody? Mark Conway with the Midwest Horror Network. Thank you so much for clicking on this link for the Nightmares podcast. If you do want to hear just the audio version of this podcast, click the Spotify link below.
Welcome to the Nightmares podcast, everyone, where we talk about all things horror, movies, TV shows, comics, books, video games, music, whatever. If it has to do with horror, we talk about it. Fair warning, though, for today. Today's discussion is going to be very spoiler heavy.
Again, because we've never talked about spoilers before.
But this conversation is pretty much about spoilers.
Again, because we've never talked about spoilers before.
We get the point, Zach.
Mark, what are we talking about?
We are talking about characters in horror movies that we loved and didn't want to see die.
But they died anyway.
They did, unfortunately. Thus why we didn't want to see them die. I came up with this idea. I was just pitching around a few ideas, and I love Brandon's immediate response to this was like, I know exactly who you're gonna pick, and he was wrong. And he ended up picking the one he thought I was gonna pick. So, but the one I'm really interested in is I'm really interested to hear what Zach has to say about this.
Because he doesn't like anybody.
I know, so that's why I'm gonna make him go first.
Yeah, usually he's the one that who sees the movie specifically to see people die. So, who did you like that you didn't want to see die?
Okay, so this was fucking tough because, like you said, I just watch movies to watch people die. So, yeah, thinking about it, I chose 3 characters. One of them's from a movie, but he plays the same actor who also plays in the video game I'm going to talk about. And then the other one is just straight up a video game. So, the actor is Peter Mensah, and he was in Dead Space and Friday the 13th 10, Jason X.
Who was seeing that?
The sergeant, the general guy.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who gets stabbed in the ribs is just like, it's going to take more than that to put me down. Shit, yep, that'll do.
I know I've seen the movie recently because I got the box set, but I am struggling to remember that.
He's the black guy who lives.
Oh.
That is a very small list, unfortunately.
It was the mid-90s. What are you going to do?
It was not the
No,
mid-90s.
wait, 2001, I'm sorry.
2001.
2001, and then Dead Space was what, 2009?
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Let's see, hold up. Where the fuck is Dead Space? 2008, okay. So yeah, he was the sergeant in fucking Jason X. I just thought he was a funny fucking character. Like, gives no shits and stuff like that. The guy who, brought Jason aboard, he's begging the guy to, like, come on, we have to keep him in one piece.
Wait, I only recall, like, the girl, the guy, and that one android's head living.
Okay, well, technically at the end...
So are you talking about the guy that actually took Jason down into Earth 2?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy.
Yeah,
All
last second, just... Poof.
Yeah, as soon as I was thinking about that, I was like, wait a minute, there were only 3 survivors. Now, there was that one guy who actually took Jason X down to the atmosphere, and obviously he would have died himself from that.
I mean, we never see him really die.
There's no way he would survive in that.
I know, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
It's just that Jason didn't kill him. So it's not that he survived, it's that Jason wasn't the one who killed him.
Yeah. Either way, I thought he was a fun character in the movie. And then also in Dead Space, he's one of the 3 guys. He's one of the, 2 other people that are on board the ship with you that are actually alive. He's the only one that kind of has like a level head. The chick where she's losing her mind, complaining, and she's really fucking annoying. And then at the end of the game, she betrays you. But Hammond, he actually has a level head, and, he's kind of a cool character. And then gets destroyed by a fucking berserker, and it's like, oh, well, fuck. That's horrible. But, he was awesome in Jason X. Now, the third person is, Hayden Panettiere in fucking, Until Dawn, the game. Have any of you played that?
No, I've not played that.
I had no idea she was even in a game.
Yeah, so Until Dawn is kind of like this interactive movie experiment, kind of like what The Walking Dead was and shit like that, only it's a horror game and stuff like that. Now, when I played this game with a buddy of mine, originally my intention was, I am going to make sure all these kids die in the worst way possible. But I don't know, I was just like, Hayden Panettiere's hot and she's actually kind of nice. I'm going to let her live. So throughout the game, I'm like trying to kill all these people and everything like that. I'm just making all the wrong decisions. And then, I actually start to like a few people going through here. I'm just like, there's this one guy that I'm like, He's kind of cool. I'm going to let him live. And then some bitch just fucking goes nuts, locks the door behind me. I'm like, no, open the door. I want him to live. No. And then he fucking does. I'm going to fucking murder you, you dumb broad. God damn it.
Yeah.
That game just, I had a lot of emotions with, but it was, it's fun.
I heard good things about that game. Like, all the motion capture work was fantastic.
Oh, it's
What
beautiful.
was it called again?
Until Dawn.
I feel like I've heard of that, but there are a lot of games and movies that have similar titles, so I could be thinking of
Yeah,
something
that's
else.
true. I gotta make you guys do a playthrough of that for the channel one day. It's
He's going to get Brandon to play a video game.
Wow, that is pretty impressive.
That
No, I'm
isn't
gonna get both
Injustice 2 or some kind of pinball simulation.
Yeah, Brendan, there are other games besides pinball.
Yeah, Injustice 2.
And besides that,
It's a fun game.
I know, but there are other games that do exist.
He
and they
bought
are
a
also fun.
PlayStation 4 just to play fucking pinball. I'm just like,
And Injustice 2. Well, I also bought it with the intention of playing Mortal Kombat 11, but we know how that turned out.
oh, fuck that game.
Anyway,
Yeah. So yeah, those are the characters who, like, the only handful of characters I could ever think that I'm like, yeah, I want you to survive. In a horror movie, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Or some kind of horror media, because 2 of your picks were video games.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
still.
So Brendan, go ahead.
All right, so I guess I'll start with the one that I could have sworn you were going to pick, and that is my 1996 spirit animal,
Yes.
Randy Meeks from the Scream movies, who was unfortunately killed off in Scream 2.
Look, we all knew if Mark picked that, we all would have given him shit for it because it's
We
like,
totally
oh look,
would have.
a Scream movie character he wanted to survive. Gee willikers, Batman, what a fucking surprise. We didn't see that one coming a mile away. Who's next? The girl from The Conjuring? Oh, gee willikers.
And this one funny. This one didn't even cross my mind when I was thinking of the list. There was other my pick that I'm gonna pick was the inspiration for this topic actually. So I wasn't even on my mind.
Is it a Scream Queen's character?
Yep. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But Randy's a good fucking pick.
Yeah, he was my favorite character in the first movie because, like I said, he was basically my 1996 spirit animal.
Yeah, more or less.
Which that should be another podcast topic. We each choose our spirit animals from each year.
Yes, oh god.
That would be terrible.
Yep.
Nobody would listen to it.
Yep.
Or everybody would listen to it.
Yes, and Brandon has had a freak out in the middle of the Best Buy aisle just like Randy did. If they watched prom night, they would save time. And with a copy of Heavyweights in his hand for some reason. I don't know why prom night got brought up.
Heavyweights. I've actually never seen Prom Night.
No, neither have I.
Yeah.
I just know the
I
line.
have not seen Prom Night. I have not seen Prom Night 2. I have not seen Prom Night 3. And I have not seen the remake.
I've actually seen the remake. It was on TV once, and I'm like, eh.
I'm here. I might as well. Although we've seen Heavyweights more than once.
Yep. Yeah, that was that's great, but that's not a horror movie. So
That movie just does not look entertaining.
Oh, dude, it's fucking crazy.
Anyways, back on topic.
yeah. So yeah, Randy worked at a video store in the first one. Do you have that werewolf movie with E.T.'s mom in it? The Howling.
Horror straight ahead.
So yeah, it's which I never actually worked at a video store either.
If it was the 90s, you would.
Yeah, I
have.
probably would have. And I did work 3 jobs in high school though.
Wait a second. E.T.'s mom was in The Howling?
Yeah. Dee
Wow.
Wallace.
Like I said, that movie just sucked.
I liked it. But yeah, she was also in Cujo.
Never saw Cujo. Never.
Cujo is okay.
Not a dog person.
Like that is a movie that there are certain differences from the book that if it were to be done right, it could be a very good remake. But yeah, so yeah, and the second one, it was during the scene where it's like they're out in the middle of the open. He's with Courtney Cox's character and I believe David Arquette as well. Mm-hmm. And they have the killer on the phone and basically they know that the killer can see them. So they're literally just like looking at everybody who has a cell phone there, just trying to find who it is. And then Randy's pretty much trying to just sort of keep him on the line.
Fucking love that line. What's your favorite scary movie? Showgirls. Terrifying.
Which I think that's getting a 4K release soon.
Oh.
The only difference is Brandon's lines. No, wait, he actually likes Spice Girls. Never mind.
No,
He said Showgirls, not Spice Girls.
Yeah, that's why I was saying your line would be Spice Girls, but you actually like the goddamn movie.
No, his would be Jeepers Creepers 3.
It's not a real movie.
It is. It exists on IMDb.
No, it doesn't.
Look, just because you're a walking IMDb page doesn't mean you can delete history. We already have enough of that problem as it is.
Would you really have a problem with that part of history being deleted?
Look, if you delete all of Disney Star Wars history, I'll allow you to delete Jeepers Creepers 3.
Done.
All right, Jeepers Creepers 3 no longer exists, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it does for the sake of every time I mention it, I love the look that he gives me.
Mark, what are you talking about?
Fine, move on.
So anyway, I'll always remember the first time I saw it. I was in high school and I was renting the first 3 movies through Netflix by mail. And when I got to the second one, I got to that part, it was like, Randy, no! Like that one really stung because I saw a lot of myself in his character, and
Then you saw yourself die.
yeah,
That sucks. That definitely sucked, and I think it led to big fucking problems in the third one with him not.
you
being-
mean like
I think it led
his-
to the third one being a huge success. Because
you
that
mean like
movie was
them
hilarious.
randomly taking a VHS tape that
Yep.
he recorded? That
Yep.
was so dumb.
Oh, it was extremely dumb. It was hilarious. The video itself was hilarious, but the concept behind that whole situation was extremely dumb.
Yeah, I would have rather they just leave him out of it.
Yeah, you know what? I loved seeing the video because the video's fucking hilarious. It's like I regret losing my virginity to Karen Kolchak in the back out in the porno section of my video. Creepy Karen, shut up. She's really sweet. We were putting videos away back in the porno section, and shit happens.
I really don't want to talk about Scream 3.
Why? Because it's a masterpiece that no one will admit?
And it's technically in the Jay and Silent Bob universe.
It is,
Which makes it that much better.
is a fucking disaster. An absolute fucking disaster.
What does it say?
You got that early 2000s special effects of him blowing the fuck up. They blow up some coke dealer's house in the fucking hills. The last coke dealer in 2000 with a goddamn fax machine.
Fucking love that fucking movie.
Why is this telegram coming from Colombia? I don't know. It's just so... Dude, this whole... Like, in 96, it was about cell phones. And in the third one that came out 4 fucking years later, they used a goddamn fax machine. This whole thing was supposed to be about fucking technology being used against people. And you used a fucking fax machine. Which at that point, even they were going, it's a little dated. It fucking truly blows my mind. They were using voice synthesizers to not only disguise the killer's voice, but to make it sound like other people's voices. And they were still using a fucking fax machine in it. God, that fucking movie pisses me off.
It makes me so happy. It's so stupid.
Oh my god.
It only took 3 movies, but we finally got a good Scream.
Fuck you, Zach. They've all been good except that one.
No, quite the opposite.
That's because you don't understand satire at all.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, no, you do not. Anyway, moving on. What else you got, Brendan?
So now that the spotlight is back over to me now.
I had to get that rant out about fucking fax machines.
All right, so my next 2, I have one that I've shown Zach that you haven't seen, Mark, so you're going to get spoiled. And then I have one that I've shown you, Mark, but Zach has not seen, so that's going to get spoiled for Zach. So it's all even and happy.
Spoiler alert.
All right, so my first one is the movie that I just showed you less than a week ago, and that is Woody in Summer of '84.
Woody.
Woody being his nickname.
Yeah.
It's the only kill you see in the movie.
Yep.
And the fact that they wait for that long in the movie to actually show it, I think makes it that more devastating.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what the movie is about, it takes place in the summer of 1984 in an Indiana suburb, I believe, and where nothing happens, but there's a serial killer who is murdering children, and the main kid believes that the serial killer is his neighbor from across the street, who is also a police officer in the town. And it's him and his friends trying to gather evidence and prove that he is the serial killer. It is a very fun movie until it isn't anymore. And it gets super serious in the third act.
Yes, indeed.
And it works.
I love that description. It's a fun movie until it isn't. It just gets super fucking serious.
It really does.
Like, holy shit!
Like Jojo Rabbit. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny until it's not.
Yeah, it's all lighthearted and fun until it isn't anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, fantastic movie, and it's the movie really does a good job at making the kids feel like the kids of that age, like
Yeah.
the early teens. They felt like real teenagers, and you like them because of it.
And it just goes to show you our level of maturity, because
Oh, yeah.
how they talk to each other is the same way that we talk to each other. But the big difference is
Yeah.
that those kids are 13. We're in our late 20s.
To be
and
fair,
early
was there much
30s.
of a difference?
Yes, late 20s.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one that really, and it's like that can, especially because like the movie never really shows you much of any of their personal lives, which one of the points of the movie is people rarely show you who they really are behind closed doors. So it really just gives you enough, just a hint at what these kids' home life is. Just
yeah.
enough to paint a picture in your mind without overly explaining it. And so you get enough of what's going on with him and his mother, and basically, like, she's always working like 14-hour shifts at the hospital, and they kind of insinuate that she may have an alcohol abuse problem as
Something.
well. Like you don't know what, but you know there's something. And he does go out of his way to help take care of her when she needs it. So
Yeah.
it's even though he's always joking around with his friends and everything, it does show that he is actually a very sweet person on the inside. And so when it's just like such the most unceremonious kill too. Like it is just quick and brutal.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I won't go into how it happens because I do want to leave that a surprise for anybody that's going to see it, because it is probably my second favorite movie of 2018. But yeah, it is a very good, very devastating movie from the same people that made Turbo Kid, which I know a lot of people liked. I didn't care for it, and that was actually the reason why I did not see the movie in the theater, because I didn't like the first movie.
Was
And
it a
then-
wide release?
It was like a limited release. It played at the Music Box, and they
Yeah.
actually had the three directors there for a Q&A.
Oh shit.
But I was like, Turbo Kid. I didn't really care for Turbo Kid.
What was
so I didn't
Turbo Kid? Was that animated one?
No. It was like a really small independent movie that had, I'll show you the IMDb page here.
Yeah,
because
because I feel like I know of it. You know what? I'm probably thinking of fucking Astro Boy or something. Let
This
me
movie.
see. Oh, that fucking movie! I wanted to see it, but I never got around to it.
Yeah, I really wanted to see it too, and it didn't grab me. Like I felt very uninvolved with Turbo Kid.
How was Michael Ironside? Because that's one of the main reasons.
I mean,
I
Michael
wanted to
Ironside
see
is always going to be. Michael Ironside is reliable. He's
Yeah.
no matter how good or bad or okay a movie is, you're always going to get Michael Ironside doing the best he can.
Yeah.
And I really like that they brought him back as Darkseid for the Harley Quinn animated series this past year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which he was Darkseid in the Superman animated series in the '90s, and they brought him back for Harley Quinn because you can't replace Michael Ironside as Darkseid.
You know something hilarious? The first time I ever heard him was actually Splinter Cell.
Huh.
Really?
And I just didn't know it was him.
But yeah, so I didn't care for Turbo Kid, and that's why I didn't see the movie at Music Box with the Q&A. And then when the movie hit Shudder, I was like, you know what? I'll check it out. I can see it for free. And I watched it, and instant regret. Instant regret.
Fucking hate it when shit like that happens.
Yeah, so if you're one of the three directors of Summer of '84 and you're somehow listening to our podcast, I am so sorry that I did not see you guys at the Music Box. If I could go back in time, that is one of the few things I would fix.
Slap him in the face. Fucking go, stupid!
Brandon, I'm from the future, but you gotta listen to me. There's a movie coming out called Summer of '84. You're gonna see that's playing at the Music Box at midnight with a Q&A. See it. Why? Just see it.
He probably wouldn't even believe him.
No, he'd probably be super confused. It's like, no, I'm not gonna listen to you, but I'm you. So
That's all the more reason. not to
I
listen
never
to you.
I never listen to me. Why would I listen now?
So yeah, very good movie. And then the next one I have is the character Kaylee from Oculus.
I still haven't seen that.
And it's the reason I like her character so much is because she's a character that So the backstory of the movie is there's a haunted mirror. It's a lot smarter than it sounds, I swear.
Trailers did not do that movie justice at all.
You liked it, right, Zach? I know I showed it to
I
you.
enjoyed it, yeah. Like, I remember when the trailers came out, I'm like, this looks boring as shit, which is why I just completely avoided it. And
I
then
was actually-
nobody ever talked about it after it released, so I was
Dude,
just...
I actually I remember seeing a few reviews from like Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman, and they were both like, "It's fantastic," and I had the same reaction to you. I was like, "How the fuck is this good?"
Yeah, this was before I started watching Jeremy Johns.
And I think it came out. And I think it came out in like February, or like right in that season when movies are typically shit.
Yeah.
So
you never knew. I was gonna say at this
Like
point, you
I
never
found
know.
that in like January, February, like big studio movies are pretty crappy, but independent movies that are bought off the festival circuit, you usually can find
Good
some
ones there.
underground good ones
Okay.
at that time of year. So it really depends on what the source is.
Sometimes they just want to throw movies away that they think will be failures,
Yeah.
and then bam, you get something that's good in a hidden gem like Oculus.
One of my favorite movies from the 2000s, and also one of Marcus's favorite movies, is something called In Bruges with Colin Farrell and Ralph Fiennes.
I had heard about that.
Fantastic movie. Was a February release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was kind of, the trailer just made it look all, hey, and it was like, what is this? And
In
then I
Bruges?
yeah,
Is that an A24 movie?
No.
Sounds like an A24
It's not.
movie.
it's made by the same guy that did Seven Psychopaths and Three
Oh.
Billboards.
Oh, that freaking movie. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard Marcus talk about it plenty of times.
Fantastic
He
movie.
loves that director.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that director's 3 for 3 so far. But yeah, so it's about a haunted mirror, and it's pretty much the backstory of the mirror is all of its owners like end up going crazy and killing their families and everything. And so what I really like about Kaylee's character, played by Karen Gillian, who went on to play Nebula in the Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy and
Yeah.
MCU
MCU.
movies, which she is arguably the most interesting character in the MCU. But anyway, so what happens is when she was a kid, her parents bought the mirror. Her father went crazy, killed her mother, and basically her brother was so traumatized that he was in basically a mental hospital for years. And he's finally being released, and during all that time, what she has done was she researched the mirror, actually tracked down the mirror, bought the mirror, and pretty much she just looked up like everything that happened to all of its owners down to the T. And basically she pretty much figured out all of the rules for the mirror. And that's really what I like about her character is she knows the rules. So through her, you know the rules as an audience member. And so so it's like the movie isn't her trying to figure it out. It's her trying to outsmart the rules as laid by the mirror.
Nice.
And then the mirror in turn is trying to outsmart her. So it's literally like a chess game because like the mirror can like play with what you see and everything.
Interesting.
Like there's one scene that like it can mess with your perception of time. So she like sets timers for when to eat, when to drink, when to check the camera batteries because she has 2 cameras on the mirror as well. So it's like, so she's not like the typical dumb horror victim. She is out to prove that this thing is dangerous, and she knows the rules going in. So again, I won't say how it happens, but she does die, and because it's like she's a smart character,
Yeah.
and yet with all of the efforts put in, the mirror just still won.
And I probably love that. I gotta
Yeah.
check that out. It reminds me from a thematic standpoint of 1408, with the
John Cusack.
John
and-
Cusack
yeah.
literally playing chess with a haunted room. So
Which I did not care for 1408, but I only saw it once in the theater. I seem to be in the minority, so I should give it another chance sometime.
I think you should. I've always particularly liked it. I liked it for what it was, and it's far more thriller than it is horror. It's got horror elements with it, but it's mostly very thriller. But it feels very Stephen King on his A game, and this is based on a Stephen King short story.
Yep. Yeah, that was also the same year as The Mist, which I liked The Mist a lot more.
Okay, I still haven't seen The Mist. I gotta check that out.
If
You
you
missed the one where they're stuck in the mall. grocery store?
Yeah, it was more of a grocery store.
Okay, yeah, the grocery store. Yeah, that one was all right.
Yeah, I like that one. I mean, when Stephen King says about your ending, I wish I thought about that. But yeah, Oculus, highly recommended. And it's always sad when you see a character making the smartest decisions and yet they still don't make it.
Yeah.
But that's also what makes the movie so thrilling because
absolutely.
it's not a dumb. She's not a dumb character. She's like, I always like it when there is a character at the forefront who's like, that's exactly what I would have done, or that's something I wish I would have thought of.
Which
is hard to say if that's something that you would have done because it's like you're sitting on a couch watching a movie in full comfort. So who knows what you would do when the adrenaline's actually going and you're facing something supernatural. So
everybody can play Monday morning quarterback when
when you're actually watching the movie instead of living it.
He should have gone for the Hail Mary.
Well, you know though, but I think that part of that is actually the fun of watching horror movies.
Yeah,
is putting yourself in the character and being like, oh, don't. I mean, even Nev Campbell said that about Scream. She said there's something really, really fun about watching a character say something and then do exactly what they say. Like literally, Nev Campbell was on the phone with the killer and she's like, and he's like, do you like scary movies? Like, no, it's the same thing. It's a big, dumb, breasted blonde running up the stairs when she should be running out the front door. It's insulting. Literally 30 seconds later, she runs the fuck upstairs. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? So that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
One thing I learned about playing the Friday the 13th game is you learn real quickly who would survive in a horror movie and who wouldn't. The fact that my win-loss ratio is so fucking high, me and my buddy are like, yeah, I feel confident in our chances, but most of these people, it's like, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, the average person in a horror movie.
Yeah. Like, that game really built my confidence.
But also the advantage you have in watching a horror movie is you do get the editing of showing, like, where the killers are sometimes.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's like, you don't have that other point of view in real life.
Like I said, playing the game, you don't know where the fuck Jason is.
So if you're running somewhere, you're taking a gamble.
No, I hear you.
Regardless of your decisions, you're taking a gamble in real life.
That's why you don't run in the open. You take the bushes, you take the cover, you stay hidden, you don't fucking scream and go...
Did you just turn into a turkey there?
Yeah, something. I don't know what the hell it was. I don't know what get down. Get down. I don't know what are you doing? That's my cookie. Put the cookie down.
Mark, what are your picks?
So I get a few.
Randy.
Randy.
Randy is one of them for sure, but that's like
Randy.
at the bottom list.
Should we make fun of him for choosing
something
from Scream?
I didn't even think about that, actually.
Lies and slander.
Who? What?
I didn't even think about Chad. But I'm going to add him to the list, too, because that was, you know what? Fuck you. That was both of our picks. We were so devastated when Chad died in the Scream Queens. That was fucking devastating.
Rip Chad.
Just some quick ones, though. There's 3 ones that are pretty quick, but they're pretty obvious. Is Quinn from Jaws. I did not want to see die, but he did die. That kind of sucked the first time I ever saw it. Jeremy Renner's character from 28 Weeks Later. That one really sucked, especially when he literally
he gets incinerated.
He's literally trying to save the kids and gets fucking incinerated.
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Really, dude, 28 Weeks Later is actually really, really good. I never take away anything from 28 Days Later.
Dude, they're both phenomenal movies.
But they're both phenomenal for different reasons. Like, 28 Weeks has far more action, far more stuff. And actually, Jeremy Renner's character is fucking fantastic. He's one of the best snipers in their military.
Yeah.
And there's literally a great scene where there's a bunch of people trying to run out of a facility, and they're literally being chased by zombies. And Jeremy Renner's up on top of the building, literally sniping zombies that are about to kill a bunch of people. It's great, and he dies really shitty. And you can feel it. Like, you feel that countdown of them about to destroy that area, and you feel all that shit. And you're like, fuck.
Did I also just like the idea that it's a movie that takes place after the fucking fact finally?
Yeah.
It's like, nobody ever does that. Nobody ever makes a sequel to be like, alright, well, the zombie's got to die at some point, right? Because, I mean, deterioration and shit, so let's talk about that. And they fucking did. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. The one would like it more often. That was a really, really hard one. And then Whistler from Blade was really, I mean, obviously ruined by the fucking sequel because he comes back. But in Blade, I remember watching that at like 14, and I'm like, fuck, it sucks. I
was surprised he was killed off, or he killed himself rather. I was surprised with that as well when I first saw the movie when I was a kid.
The I mean, it makes sense. The you know, it certainly, you know, it makes sense for that situation. But yeah, I remember it really sucking, especially because of that fact that he actually killed himself. The other one is this one's weird for me, but it had a huge emotional impact for me. But so I can't not mention it, even though it needed to happen. It just sucked that it happened. Was the mom from the Final Girls? It was a really big emotion. It had to happen that way, and I knew it had to happen that way. It's just something that it's like there's two things, like you know it has to happen, but it just fucking sucks that it happened. It was fantastic that she got to say goodbye to her, you know, because you didn't get that chance before, but it still fucking sucked. Yeah. It made the movie what it is, and it really works. And
it does.
But it had an incredible emotional impact on me, you know, when it came to that story. It's one of those deaths that, like, you know, it's not even that you...
It's tragic.
It's not even that you don't want it. It's not even so much about you don't want it to happen. It's just that you really just don't want to see it. Like, because you were so attached to these characters. You're like, fuck, that really sucks. And actually, I would probably put that as my number one. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to put a number two that I didn't mention was Chamberlain from Scream Queens season 2.
He's the one that you picked because he's the one that when you picked him is what made you think of.
Correct. Because we had just finished up watching season 2, and as soon as he found out that the dad was the killer, like we all knew, and he's literally like literally. This is a series of shitty human beings. Like, everyone is awful.
Like who?
Like everyone, all the fucking Chanels, Chad, the fucking you know, Dean. They're all terrible. Like, even what's her face has her moments. Chanel, or what I always forget her name. She's the one who's dating Chamberlain. In season
Zayday.
Zayday. Even Zayday, you know, has her moments of kind of being overzealous or kind of being a little bit of a dick here and there. She's normal. But he's like this just incredibly sweet guy that wants nothing but to make people happy. And like, he's just kind of a guy who got caught up in all this shit. Like, he didn't like, wasn't involved in the first season. He wasn't involved in any of the original killings. He wasn't involved in anything. He's literally the only person that I would say in the entire series that was 100% innocent, like had nothing to do with it. And I think that's what inspired me to do that, because it's one of those things that, like, you know, it's kind of like in Goodfellas, man, when Joe Pesci walks to that fucking and there's no one in the room, and you're like, fuck.
Yep.
It's just one of those moments where the ceiling or the floor drops out from under you, and you go, son of a bitch, he's not walking out of that room. And I'm, you know, and it sucks too, because I know I'm going to lead this podcast and think of like 20 more people, but
We always do.
always. But I think that the most important feeling that I've had with those two is that the floor dropped out from. I think that you know what, I'm gonna put Chamberlain just a little bit above Final Girls. Final Girls had that huge emotional impact, but the difference was with Final Girls, I knew it was coming. Like, you know, I think we all knew that had to happen that way, had to get run down that way. There's no way in hell that she was leaving with her to go back to the future. She's a character in the movie. She doesn't exist.
Yep.
Like, I knew it was going to happen that way. It just was one of those things that sucked watching. But Chamberlain was one of those things, like, you know, you had no idea until you knew. So yeah, those are definitely my picks for them. It's decided to end on a depressing note, but every one of these things though are like, just because they had these experiences with them, I would never take away watching them, because they were fucking fantastic. All of them, the movies I picked, I absolutely love, and the shows I picked, I absolutely love, and I highly recommend them. But yeah, it's really, really nice when a horror as a genre is typically what Zach loves about horror, which is chopping up people and going nuts, which it is for sure that. But it's really, really nice when you're that invested in a story and you really give a shit about the characters, and then you're really fucking disappointed and devastated when they do eventually die, because that's what happens in horror movies. People die, and it's sometimes the people that you don't want to die. But at the end of the day, it actually doesn't. It actually makes it better rather than worse. So that's a big thing. The big thing with this is being attached to characters, and not wanting them to die, and then it really fucking sucks when they do.
Yeah, I think if you care about the characters, that's the difference between a really great story and a movie that's just trying to be a ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with either one, but it's
No.
a completely different experience when you actually like the characters as opposed to when you're like, I don't like these people, I just want to see them get hacked to bits.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And actually, funny enough, like I had the same. I had both with watching Scream Queens. There were characters in that I absolutely wanted them to die, and most of the time they didn't. It was actually good people that died. Scream Queens. All the terrible people lived, which is an allegory for life. Like the good die young, but assholes live forever. And Scream Queens is the perfect
epitome of that
the
shit.
absolute epitome of that.
Is that why they canned it after 2 seasons?
If that's
die young.
No, they canned it because people are too busy watching that shitty other show. What is it? American Crap Story?
Well, nobody watched Scream Queens while it was on except for me. Because
the
nobody wanted to believe me when I said it's great.
I get it.
Again, I thought it was just a documentary.
No, it was
It's
not.
just like, oh, okay, this looks whatever.
Dude, I just love your reaction to watching that show. And you're like, I think I like this show. And you know what? I'm pretty sure I like this show. And then there's several episodes, and then you're like, you know what? I'm a fan of this show.
Yeah.
I'm in. I am in.
Because it was like when it was first on, it was like nobody was watching it. The reviews were just kind of and that was back when I was still reading reviews like before I would watch something. So I'm just like, so it was like my brain was like, I'm enjoying this, but everybody's saying it's not good. And then finally I decided to be like, screw other people. I actually like this.
Absolutely.
It's a fun show.
Yeah.
It was one of those series that I was
Slow start, but
It was a slow start, and I think that's probably why some people had some issues with it. But what the fuck series doesn't have somewhat of a slow start?
What good story doesn't have a slow, proper start to actually set things up
That's
so that you can have payoffs later?
Excellent point. Excellent.
Like
point.
if you already start all the way up here, you have nowhere to go,
Exactly.
and you're just gonna get exhausted watching it.
I mean, Supernatural started nice.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
The
I've never
Boys
seen
started
it, so-
pretty good.
Which one?
The Boys.
Yeah. I like season 2 a lot more than season 1.
You know what show actually had a really good start, and it's actually why I got hooked on the show, was The Man in the High Castle. Amazon released the first episode free so everybody could watch it, and I'm just like, I need to watch this show, because holy shit, that was awesome.
All right. Thank you for listening to whatever this episode of the Nightmares podcast was. You can listen to all of our previous episodes wherever podcasts are available. Also, be sure to check us out on all of our social media, including YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and
Slasher.
And of course, if you are checking us out on YouTube, it could be so awesome to stab that like button, smash that subscribe, and click that little dingy bell to be notified every time we drop amazing content right here on MHN. And of course, if you are listening to this on Spotify or any other podcasting streaming service, press the follow button so you can also be notified every time we drop a new episode of the Nightmares podcast. Thank you so much. We will see you later. Bye, guys.